My next guest, Aija Mayrock, is a best-selling author and spoken word poet who's performed for millions of Americans around the world, from Madison Square Garden to the internationally renowned festival Austin South by Southwest. But her journey to self-confidence started with years of childhood bullying that started at age 8. Now 26 years old, Aija took her experience and has turned it into a mission to help others. And she joins us now from her home in New York City. Aija, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This show is about giving one the ability to say, I'm proud of me. And that is difficult in any circumstance, but especially when you have bullying involved. And your journey, we're not talking about a little taunt here and there. We are talking about cruel language, even kids telling you at a young age that you should take your own life. What empowered you, though, to say, I'm going to write this book and I'm going to help other kids who are experiencing that same thing?
So when I was 15 years old, a girl that I had never met who went to my old school dressed up as me for Halloween, and she posted it online, and suddenly I experienced cyberbullying at a level I had never seen or dealt with at that point. And around that same point, there were a lot of stories in the news about young people who had taken their life all over the world. And I knew that feeling of hopelessness, and I knew that isolation, and I didn't want anyone to ever feel like that was the answer, because I also knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And I was hoping to create something that would just show anyone struggling that suicide wasn't the answer and that they could get through it. And so I wrote the book. I self-published it. I had no idea how you go about publishing a book.
You call it a survival guide, right? Because I think most people have experienced some form of bullying. Obviously, as I said, you look in the newspaper and every day there's something on my social media feed of the horrors, though, that can come from it. And it is not a rite of passage, and it should not be a rite of passage for kids. But when you say surviving it, what do you mean?
So, like you said, there's this misconception that bullying is kids being kids and it is a rite of passage. But what I noticed when I went through it, and right after when I saw all these stories about young people taking their life all over the world, that it was a global issue that was much more than kids being kids. It was a mental health crisis, all of this. Actually, students that are bullied are 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide. And so with this book and with my message, what I hope is to encourage young people to not only never go through it alone, but to find ways to break the cycle of bullying, because it only continues because it is a cycle. So the person being bullied can also become a bully and is definitely a bystander. And I've been a bystander before. I think probably most of us have.
You know, it's so interesting. When we started out this show, the intention was to look at ourselves and say, I'm proud of me. And the thing that all of our guests have in common, and I'm sure our TAM fan members in the audience, is that you often find the ability to be proud of yourself because you're helping others. You know what I mean? It's not just about, okay, I'm proud of me. You have found a way to be proud of yourself through service and helping others. That's amazing. I love that. How does it feel for you to know that you have this legacy at such a young age and you've probably saved so many other lives? How does that feel?
You know, when I was being bullied, I didn't know what my future would look like. I really struggled with my mental health because of it, and I never imagined that this would be my life. I feel really lucky that hopefully this message is resonating with even just a few young people who might be struggling, who might not know how to continue and how to ask for help. And it's something that I can't even describe because I never expected this to happen. But I'm really grateful that it has, and I just hope that it continues to help young people who might be part of this cycle in some way.